Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thanks for joining and giving your valuable time on a Saturday where you could have done 100 different things on a leisure or on other business, important business. Welcome to this important webinar where we can discuss about few schemes where we can get skilled for free and get job assistance as well. So it is funded by the government. More details will be given by Brother Sufian. The format of today's webinar will be Brother Hanif will give an introduction of UKTM because we have some members who have joined recently and who are aware of some and aware of not every activity we do. And it's a quick refresher as well for people who already know. And then Brother Sufyan will go through his presentation. In the end, there will be a Q&A session. I tried to bring in one sister who has gone through this program and has got a job. Finally, she's a front-end developer, alhamdulillah. She's a housewife, she has had a career gap, etc. Like typical, like anybody else situation. But due to shortage of time, I could not bring her in. Anyway, one member from Manchester also is availing the same scheme, is undergoing now. So if someone wants to speak to someone who has gone through it or undergoing this, we can get it arranged later on. So I would invite Brother Hanif to give some introduction about UKTM and activities so that people will be aware of everything that we do, inshallah. Over to you, Hanif. Bye.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. All praise be to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I start, I'll start with the dua for our brothers in Palestine. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala help our brothers and sisters in Palestine to have peace, inshallah. Also, bless this gathering and UKTM efforts, inshallah. Those who are attending, I request to be on mute until the Q&A session. Yeah. Next is, I like to welcome all to this webinar today, organized by UKTM Career and Education Chapter. For those who do not know about UKTM, let me introduce myself and UKTM. I am Raj Mohammed Hanif, living in Milton Keynes. I'm an IT enterprise architect by profession and currently chairman of UKTM. What is UKTM? UKTM is a UK Tamil Muslims organization for Tamil-speaking Muslims in the UK. Why do we need this UKTM? Our vision is to unite all Tamil-speaking Muslims. Although I speak in English, majority of people connected here are comfortable with English. Otherwise, we could have sessions in Tamil also, but we prefer to have it in English so that it covers very wider audience. Well, so objective of UKTM is to unite and inspire and empower. So how do we do this? To achieve this, we have identified 4 chapters through which we conduct many events and initiatives. So number 1, we have a children empowerment chapter led by Asif Saukat Ali. He helps with his team to have events for the next generation with educational and cultural enrichment programs to install pride in their heritage and faith and prepare them for the bright future. That's the children chapter. Next, we have a health and medical chapter. So in our group, we have number of doctors and medical professionals. We leverage that. And then we conduct camps in our social meets, conduct webinars on health subjects, and thereby benefit the wider community. And third, the health medical chapter is by Dr. Salim and Dr. Ijaz. They lead that. So third one is the marriage and aspiration chapter. So we have a Dean Matches forum where we help the members to register the potential brides and bridegrooms in our community. And Sister Shireen leads this chapter, and we do conduct events throughout the year to have meetings and to facilitate this. And I, before I come to the career and education, I want to invite everybody to become a subscribed member of UKTM for a small token fee of £10 annually, so that you join our UKTM family and help with our initiatives. You could become a volunteer. You can contact us and in whatever way you can help us. Together we can achieve great things, inshallah. So career and education chapter, we have Brother Mansoor leading the uh, education thing, and Brother Rafiq leading the career. So we have been doing a number of events in that journey. We have this webinar is a step in that journey. So I like to thank Brother Rafiq and team for making this happen. And I also want to thank Brother Sufian to give up his time and come and give us all the knowledge he has. He's very experienced. I don't want to take too much of a time, so I invite Brother Sufian to introduce himself and proceed with this presentation. Inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you so much, Hanif Bhai, for the opportunity. Maybe I'll quickly share my screen and then we get started from there. I hope my screen is now visible and you're able to hear me. Okay. First of all, thanks for the opportunity to talk about like how people can benefit through these free skills bootcamp that the government of UK has been offering for quite a few years now. Before I get started with it, maybe I'll quickly give a little bit introduction to myself. So my name is Sufian Kaki Aslam. Something relevant to this group is that I was born in Bangalore, but pretty much brought up in Tamil Nadu, Tirupattur. That's closer to Vellore. So Ambur is like really close for me, which is known for biryani and then leather goods and stuff like that. So that's where I was brought up, did my schooling, part of it in Chennai, part of it in Tirupattur, most of it in Tirupattur. And then I did my engineering from Coimbatore, Kumaraguru College of Technology. I did my electronics and communication engineering and graduated in the year 2013. And I started something called as an innovation center within the same college, which was helping people, which was helping students to get some real-time experience. So I was like working with a lot of manufacturing companies in Coimbatore, like get some projects from them, and then I would be working with the students. So essentially, like I had a kind of a company running within the college, incubated by the college. So that's what I was doing for a couple of years. Then wanted to do more, learn more, and stuff like that. So I went to Chicago, did my MS in electrical engineering again there. I lived there for a couple of years, but due to some family circumstances, I had to come back. And then once I came back, I was like working as an associate professor of practice in one of the colleges in Bangalore. So I was doing that for almost like 3 to 4 years. And in the meantime, what also happened was like the pandemic hit. And then one of my friends who came to study in the UK, he was asking me like, do you want to be a trainer for these free skills bootcamp that Infor Group, a company based in Manchester, is offering? And like, I have been an educator for quite some time, so I was like, yeah, why not? And then that's how I started being a trainer for Infor Group, offering that was offering these free skills bootcamp. I was doing that for like 2 to 3 years, and until earlier this year when like I became a director of Skill City, and then I had to move to UK here, and then I've been in Manchester since March. So that's something about myself. I mean, like through this journey, what good is an instructor or what good is a director if he does not have his own qualifications so that he puts up syllabus together, helps people get the jobs. And that's the reason why there's like a little showcase of like what are some of my qualifications other than the college degree itself. Well, so that is me, and because I have been exposed to like both the education sector, which is like the formal education in schools, universities, both in India and in the US, and like that gives me a pretty good exposure of like how education system around the world is, and then what are some of the key aspects that these days employers are looking forward to when they are giving jobs. So based on those key aspects, like a lot of companies, educational institutions, these bootcamp providers or training providers, everyone, the race they are behind in is like, how can we build programs that are very specific to a certain job market? And like my 10 years of experience of being an educator is what brings me into this space as well, which is puts me in a credible position to be able to talk about what is required for someone to qualify themselves in the field of engineering or information technology or anything related to digital space. And that's why I'm here doing what I do. Well, now the entire discussion today, or the focus is going to be across the skills bootcamp. Now, since we are calling it a free skills bootcamp, nobody is doing a voluntary work here. So how does this actually work? Now, there are a number of departments within the government, and they are very much focused on how to help people get the jobs. That's the primary focus. I mean, there can be a discussion on why is government funding so much of money in helping people acquire the skills and getting the jobs. It's like one of the reasons some of them say is like, I mean, if people don't get the job, they are entitled for benefits, and that's free money going out of the government's pocket. So instead, how can we help them be qualified, have a skill, and that will help them throughout their career and life? So that's the primary focus of why different departments of the government, which is like one of them is Department of Education, which is like the central body that funds for most of the boot camps across the country. And there are local authorities as well. For example, certain funder. I'm based in Greater Manchester. Greater Manchester has something called as Greater Manchester Combined Authority. Lancashire has one. So almost like every state also has like a funding pot. So what they do is like they work with these bootcamp providers, skills bootcamp providers, and then based on the need, based on the requirement in the industry, they call for a bid. And then when these bootcamp providers apply for the bid, like that's how they get like a quota to deliver these bootcamps, help people get the jobs. And essentially, what is also happening is after Brexit, earlier UK used to be a lot dependent on other countries within the EU. Now, because it's on its own, like it is trying to build the capacity in terms of technology, engineering, and everything. And that makes it even more critical that people who are residents in the UK, especially within England, uh, like they are well qualified in the digital space to be able to solve the country's requirements, the skills gap or the talent gap, I'd say. So that's why the interest in skills bootcamp is there, and that's the reason why there is like millions of pounds being spent almost every year. When I say like millions of pounds, like we can easily say like the government of UK spends close to like 50-60 million pounds every year to help people get the jobs. There are several bootcamp providers across the country offering it in different domains, but nevertheless, this is the market, this is the need, and that is the reason why skills bootcamp is being a thing for people who are looking forward to upskill and get the jobs. Now, as a consumer, like what's in it for us or who is eligible? Now, a very generic framework which is given by the Department of Education itself is these things, which is like someone who wants to upskill themselves need to be above the age of 19, and they definitely need to have the right to work in the UK. And they should be living in England because most of the funds are deployed for the states within the England. That's the reason why the right to work is like the key criteria here. What I also mean by that is, I mean, like citizens of UK, they are definitely eligible, but even someone is who is on a visa, and it gives them the right to work, because not every visa gives people the right to work. When I say right to work, it has to be like at least 3 years going forward, so that even when someone completes like these 12 to 16 weeks boot camp, they should have like a foreseeable future to get an employment. So they have the right to work, and then it might turn out into be like a skilled worker visa extension, and then they could apply for the indefinite leave to remain status. So that's the criteria here. And like generally what also happens is people who are on skilled worker visa, they are eligible. If they are able to work around the timings of the boot camps, they can definitely enroll themselves in. The dependents of the skilled worker visa, they are also like eligible, so they can like take part in the skills boot camp. Students who are on student visa, they are definitely not eligible, or like even if they are on the post study visa, like they are also not eligible. Now, there might be some leniency there, but it really depends on the bootcamp providers, because a general framework from DFE itself says that people need to have right to work in the UK. If as long as they have it, they are eligible for the boot camps. But we will have to see like how relevant it is, and there are a lot of local funding as well. Like I said, region specific funding, which is for GM, London, West Midlands, and stuff like that. So some of the boot camps might be available for even the students who are on post study visa. So that's how we can create a framework of who's eligible to participate and who's not eligible. But how do we find these skills bootcamp? What's like a place? I would encourage you to like just go to google.com and then look for skills bootcamp in UK, and then it will take you to the first link. It is like find a skills bootcamp. Now, what fields are these bootcamps offered in? Which regions are they being offered in? So this is like a one-stop shop. You can find all that information here. Now, the eligibility, what I was talking about, it's coming from this page where you should be able to see. So you should be able to see here the eligibility, who's eligible. Now, even if someone is claiming universal credit as part of their qualification or learning, they should be able to do a skills boot camp. And even if people are claiming benefits, they are still entitled to like take part in the boot camps. But other than that, like the way you can find what boot camps are being offered is through the region. Now, let's say like some of us are from the London region. If you just like open it, you should be able to see like what boot camps are being offered and by which provider. Now, it is categorized into each of these domains. Now, let's say I want to find something with engineering domain, and I'll be able to see there are 3 different boot camps being provided, and all of it being offered online. And then these are the boot camp providers. So if I click on one of these links, I should be able to see how can I apply for that. It will take you to the bootcamp providers page. That's how it further goes on. And you'll be able to see the price for all of these bootcamps are pretty much free. So you should be able to see that it does not cost you anything. And this particular bootcamp is like 10 days happening online, stuff like that. But like I work with a company who is into the digital domain, and you'll be able to see like how there are a lot of boot camps and then different providers offering them. And it's happening like both online as well as some of them are being offered in person in London, because we have selected the London region. Now, depending on your interest, you should be able to like get into one of this. And so, like some key patterns that you might be able to see here is that there is a lot of bootcamp providers for cyber, like a lot more for data analytics, and some of them for the more data related domains. And then there is a lot of it for digital marketing. But no, this I mean, like, just because there are more bootcamp providers, that's not the reason why we are able to see these many boot camps and bootcamp providers. Even before the Department of Education like creates a budget, hands over these funds, it does like a market survey, it does an industry study, market study, to be able to understand like what kind of skills are there in demand. So if you are able to see like some of these boot camps being offered from multiple skills providers, it only means that there is like genuinely the demand there in the industry. So uh, but it also has to be like something of your liking, your interest and stuff like that, and you should be able to find it for digital space. You'll be able to see it for business and administration, health and social care. So like these many different boot camps are being provided by these many providers, and heavy vehicle driving, rail related stuff. And not all the categories are going to be available in every region, because if you see it in, let's say, the Manchester region, which is under Northwest, you will be able to see like it has some like additional um, categories, which is like construction. I don't know if we were able to see it there, but you are able to see that there are boot camps and boot camp providers in the construction stuff. Similarly, leadership management, hospitality, catering. And how do you apply for it? You just pick one, and then you can go into their website, and it will tell you, because not every boot camp is going to be like of the same standard, same duration, happening online all the time. So once you go into that, this is the same thing again. But let's look at maybe from a digital engineering space, coordination offering bootcamp on cybersecurity. If we are able to get to that, it will tell us like what do they offer. So master cybersecurity, and it is like a 12-week boot camp, and it is mapped to a level 4 apprenticeships as well. I'll talk about that in a bit, but uh, this is how the 12-week journey will go. What are the things that will be taught? And you can download the flyer, find more information about these things. And you can also see like every web page, every bootcamp provider needs to put up this like how can someone join. So when you click on how can I join, and it will tell you that upcoming courses, upcoming bootcamp starting. Okay, wait. So somewhere here is where it should be telling us like what courses do they offer and how can we get started with it. In terms, okay, here should be courses, start your digital journey. Click on get started. It will ask you like which one do you want to be part of. Now let's say we were looking at the cyber one, right? So explore, develop, master. I think like let's go with this master one, learn more, cyber, learn more. Yeah, we'll have to reach out to them probably. Like, well, but some bootcamp providers, like I come from Skill City, so if you are able to look at like how we are offering, let's say the cloud engineering bootcamp, you click on it, and then it will take you to the page where it will tell you what is going to be delivered, who's eligible, what will be the timing structure, what will be the progression path once you complete it, what are the different modules that will be delivered, and you'll also see like a button to apply there. So when you click on apply now, it will take you to the form, and then where you can complete the form, and that will go into the query of the bootcamp provider, and then you can just like proceed with it. So this is how you typically explore and find a bootcamp that is of your interest. And one of the domains that is also like really booming these days is like the green skills, which is typically related to sustainability. How can we make sure that like while we are getting more and more digitized, how can we still make sure that we have like a sustainable environment and everything? Now, those are some of the things you'll be able to find in the Green Skills Bootcamp. And although like the demand for these are not really high at the moment in the small and medium enterprises, but in large organizations, they take these things very seriously. And in the next 5 to 10 years, everybody is going to be talking about how important it is for someone to understand sustainability. And that's primarily the reason why you see that there is like more and more adoption of electric vehicles these days compared to like what it was 10 years back and stuff like that. So um, now it is up to you, like based on your interest, which region do you belong to? You'll have to find whatever is of your interest, and then you can apply for it. And these boot camps, when they start, they have like a cycle of like, when is the next cohort going to begin? So you can apply for it maybe in the next 3 to 4 months. Sometimes it happens very immediately. So depending on your interest, bootcamp providers and the dates, the start dates of their bootcamps, you should be able to apply for one, and then you should be able to get started. So that's how pretty much you find a skills bootcamp based on your interest and region. Now, I mean, it always helps to know more about the commitment of these bootcamp providers. Like, what are they getting paid for? And then what can you expect literally? Because it's government fund, we don't want to enroll into something where the providers make the money just based on the stuff they teach. No, this is where like the funders have like a very interesting approach of how they release the funds. They call it as milestones. For every learner, a bootcamp provider trains. It is not only like a training contract. It should have been training, not the D. It should have been T. So, like, part of the payment happens like when the provider delivers the training, and part of it, it's only when the learners get to sit a job interview. They have to like get a job interview, and then they have to sit it. So, and like the full payment is made to the bootcamp providers only when the learner gets the job, which means like it's not only like a training provider. That's the reason why I mean, like, it is not that easy to be a bootcamp provider, because it's not only about delivering the training, it is also about how can we help these learners get the job. And if you are looking forward to get into the digital job market, I would say like enrolling yourself into one of the camps, it is definitely going to be helpful, not only because you will get you will get to upskill and get the training, but it is also because there will be a dedicated team who is always concerned about how can they get you a job interview, how can they get you a job. And most often, like, it is not only the technical stuff that is going to be taught to you. For example, if you notice, like in the boot camps that is offered by Skill City, you'll be able to see, in addition to a lot of technical modules, there will also be like other aspects as well. The personal development, careers and employability related workshops. There will be projects, industry projects, capstone projects. So different kind of things that helps you claim that you are somebody in that domain. Because otherwise it becomes like a chicken and egg problem. Like, you try to apply for a new digital or new tech role, and then they ask you for experience, and then you have to say, unless someone gives me a job, how can I get the experience? And that's the thing that boot camps try to avoid, by ensuring that how someone who has done a skills boot camp can get something like an intern certificate, which gives them an entry, because they have worked on projects, they have now technically been qualified, they have a certificate of completion, and different aspects of tech related jobs are going to be delivered across these boot camps. So that's the reason why, if someone asks me, like, personally, do I suggest someone do a boot camp, I would say that, I mean, even if not for the training, apply it, because there are dedicated teams who are going to be working on your behalf, trying to set you with job interviews, help you get the jobs, because that's their bread and butter. Now, and like as a learner, you don't have to like really pay for any of these things, and just being a UK resident, you get this entitlement, and you can enjoy that the way you would like to. So that's how the bootcamp industry or the providers side of things work. I don't want to get too detailed into like what I mean, everything that happens, but this is good enough for you to understand like what you need to offer and what can you expect when you are signing up for these skills boot camps. And typically, like what also one of the things that you have to understand is that like some of the boot camps will be full time, some of them will be part time, some of them being offered during the day, some of them are being offered during the evening. So depending on your availability and your interest, you should be able to like sign up for one of these things. But I would say that once you commit, like it is definitely going to be helpful if you stick to it, if you stay loyal to it, because the bootcamp providers won't be able to help you get the job if you don't understand, if you don't have the skill, because we know that the job market here is like not that easy. People with like a lot of experience itself sometimes struggle getting the right kind of role for themselves. So it's not going to be like a cakewalk, but getting an entry level role, it is definitely possible through the skills bootcamp, which can get you in maybe 1 or 2 years later, or even up to a few years later. You will be in a really good position, and you'll be able to like master that particular domain and reach greater heights. Now, if we look at it from the other aspect, which is like, what's the incentive for employers to recruit these newbies? Because essentially that's what is coming out of these 12-week boot camps. People are doing cloud engineering over 4 years of degree courses as well. But what can someone learn from 12 weeks? It's definitely questionable. And that's the reason why the other part, like just like how these funders fund the bootcamp providers to train and help people get the job, they also reach out to the employer market, where they try to incentivize those employers by saying that if you are able to recruit so many apprentice level employees, apprenticeships, if you offer these many apprenticeships, which is like essentially most of them are like entry level roles into a certain job, the government of UK pays those employers, saying that this is an incentive because you have now recruited, employed someone who's on an entry level, and the employer also has to offer them a little bit of training during the initial days, like the transfer between like 12 to 24 months, so that the employee is not going to compete with all the experts in the industry. So that's where the apprenticeships also come into picture. I think like we were seeing like this bootcamp provider, how it works with the apprenticeships, and like when, let me quickly look at it. So the courses itself like can be up to 16 weeks, but someone when they apply for apprenticeships, now this one is like 21 months, which means like there will be on the job training as well. And when you are in the boot camp, you don't have to pay, but you are not getting paid. But when you are in apprenticeship, you don't have to pay, but you will get paid, because you start working for potential employer, or they will be your employer actually, and you will be getting paid whatever is the like salary range for an apprenticeship level role in that organization. And this works like really well, and this is how we there is a balance between how certain bootcamp providers like generate entry level talent, but also there are employers who are looking for apprentices, because half of the salary that they'll be giving it to you is directly coming to them from the government of UK, because they are offering apprenticeships to entry level roles. So that's how there is like a win-win situation, both for the employers and prospective employees, and then it works out in a really good advantage. Okay. And a little bit about what we do through Skills City. Just to give you an idea, like I said, I work with a company called Infor Group. And if you look at the different kinds of programs we do, one of them is the Skills City program. This is like a operation through which we are delivering the skills boot camps. Now, if we look at it, like we have different boot camps that we offer. There's cloud engineering, data analytics, software engineering, and there's something called as cloud security as well. Most of our boot camps are like 12-week boot camps, and they are typically delivered online. And depending on which cohort and which funder spot are we utilizing at any given point of time, they might be available only for residents of GM, but most of them are going to be available for national as well. So that's why you see like these are 12-week bootcamp available for residents of GM or anywhere nationally. And if you want to look more about it, like you can just click on your bootcamp where you can see the syllabus, delivery, use cases, what does someone get after completing the bootcamp, the modules that will be delivered, who is eligible to participate, what career development aspects learners can learn through the bootcamp, how will their progression be once they complete the bootcamp, are they going to get a certificate, a certification. So those are the kind of things you'll be able to see. And we were just like calculating in the last 3 years, like we have graduated over 1,500 people through our different boot camps, and we have like a fair estimation of like 60 to 70% of them have been able to get a tech job. For the rest of them, we are continuously working, trying to find roles, because the other thing is like it also depends a lot on the job market as well. So sometimes there's like a lot of demand, and we work with a lot of employers around the country to understand like what kind of skills are in demand so that we can focus on those particular skills. So we like generate skills or talent that has those skills. So that's what Skill City does. But I wanted to like make it also very much open to answer questions. So that's like a short brief of what I wanted to talk about, and then let's go ahead with questions now. Yes, Asad. Hi.
So any age limit to apply for us this course?
Any days limit?
I mean age limit.
No. I'm like, I used to be a trainer, right? I have had people who were 55, 60 as well enrolling into the boot camp. And I mean, like, technically, we can't say no to them because they are entitled. This is a government program. And if they want to get into a tech role, even when they are 50, we still give them a chance. And so 19 is the start, but there is no end to it.
Okay. I have few questions, Sufian.
Yeah.
So one is, okay, if somebody is already in a job and want to cross train and can they go through this boot camp? Because what I see is, would the provider take you on board, because they say they get paid only when you get a job, but if you are already in a job, do they really take you?
Good question. So let me answer that. Like, thankfully, there is like some concession, the bootcamp providers there. So what also happens is like when someone, let's say, is in a non-tech related job and then they do the bootcamp, or even if they are in a tech job but something entry level, they wanted to learn more because they wanted to get a promotion. There's nothing stopping the learner itself from enrolling into the bootcamp, so they can. But how does the provider take benefit out of it? No, it is on to the provider to help that learner convince their manager that give me a salary hike because I now have like latest qualifications, or give me a promotion. And if those learners get a promotion or a salary hike or something like that, and they are still into the tech role, that's when uh, the bootcamp providers can claim for the third milestone as well, and they can make their money.
Okay, thank you. Second question is,
Yep.
am I able to assess the bootcamp provider? Can I ask the bootcamp provider past performance? How
Yeah,
many
yeah.
people have they placed? So do I have a choice choosing the provider?
So like most of the good bootcamp providers, they put how many people have they trained, how many people they have helped getting a job and stuff like that online in their websites itself. So that's like a quick method of like evaluating yourselves. But one of the things that has happened recently is that just like how schools are being inspected by Ofsted, now bootcamp providers are also going to be inspected by Ofsted. This has started like maybe a couple of months back, but by the time every bootcamp provider is going to be Ofsted inspected, I'm assuming like it will take a few more months or probably like a year or so. Only then there will be like again data available
Okay.
in the government website itself, which will rank or which will say that these are excellent ones, these are good ones, and stuff like that.
Okay. So sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions. Maybe it's
Please do that.
helpful for others also.
Of course.
First of all, it's very useful. I'm surprised, this is such schemes are there and people who are searching are not aware of these things. Particularly, it's being free, and it is important. We should take it to a lot of people. Another question is, whilst I'm on a boot camp, I wanted to apply jobs. So do I need to go through the boot camp provider to apply so that they can track where we're applying, interviews being happened, or I do attend the boot camp and then I apply separately and then inform I went for an interview? How does the process work?
It works both ways. Sometime, I mean, like for example, with Skill City, what we do is we ourselves have a job portal. So we work with a lot of employers. We bring in those jobs, make it available only for our learners. Now, that's one way. If someone applies through our job portal, we will definitely be able to track it.
Okay.
But otherwise, if can the learners have the freedom to apply it by themselves? Of course, like no one stops them to do that. But if they can be kind enough to come back to the provider and say that I applied for a job, sat the interview, and got the job, or like whatever process they have been through, the provider will ask, can you give us like some evidence of like whether you got the job interview or a job, so that they can like make the benefit out of your placement.
Okay. Okay, so leave it for others to ask questions. Just one thing, how can UKTM work with Skill City to, there's a lot of new youngsters joining UKTM. Every time we get asked, can you get us a job? So as such, we don't have jobs, but I can see you have a wealth of knowledge, where is a job portal, how to apply for a job. How maybe we can connect off and discuss how we can, as from organization to organization, work. If
Yeah.
somebody asks, do I refer it to you or do I refer it to somebody else, that kind of thing. But I think this is something very important for the community. We will be posting your recording in our YouTube channel and be sharing the link. And most probably there will be a request for follow-up as well, I think. And I see there's quite a lot of people have joined today. Thanks for that. So if anybody else has any more questions, please, this is your time.
Hi, Safian. Thank you so much. This is Ahmed. I have a couple of questions right from the beginning. I raised my hand as well. One being, if you see, I'm a communications professional and have about 13 years of experience. The reason why I'm stating that is now I'm also looking to add additional skill to my profile that could complement my existing experience. So, you have partially answered the question that, like, people not coming from a technical background can still take up a skill that is skill course that is being offered. But how how much of honor does the market give to such kind of skilling? In your experience, people from
Yeah.
non-technical background, do they also uh, you know get good response when you get skilled in technical background?
Okay. So I mean, from Skill City, we definitely like create something called as case studies, and then we celebrate them. We put them into our social media and everything. And some of the really popular ones are like how someone who used to be like a stay-at-home mom because she had taken a very long break, and then now she has completed the boot camp, and now she works with like really big companies. And some of them who were chef earlier, who were security guards earlier, who were Uber drivers earlier, and now they have been able to get like really good jobs in companies like Accenture, Capgemini. We have one of them who has gotten into BAE systems. So we have like really wide range of case studies where it is like a proof of how someone with nothing can actually be something once they complete the bootcamp. But I would say that it is not a wise decision to like leave everything to the bootcamp provider itself. Like what you give is what you get. So you pay more attention, you give more of your time, you show the interest, it will definitely be beneficial to you. Bootcamps are one way where you can I mean, like it only streamlines your thought process. This is also like a very common discussion in universities these days. Like there is knowledge available, a wealth of knowledge available online for free. Why should someone go to university? Why should someone go to school? No, that's a completely valid debate. But the solution to that is, I mean, because there is like the wealth of content out there which is already available for free, someone who wants to get started, they definitely get confused as to what's the right path for them. That's what universities tries to streamline, and that's what these bootcamp providers also try to streamline. But the best way to make advantage of them is to align yourself with a boot camp based on your interest, so that they will also put in effort because you are naturally passionate about either getting a job or getting into that domain, upskilling yourself, getting some qualifications. It will get you what you want eventually. So yeah, it has happened all across, all around. So easily someone with nothing, no tech knowledge have been, and like honestly, like I have taught in boot camps and people have struggled to join like a team's call, and eventually they had like a decent data analyst role by end of the boot camp, like a couple of months later, because they had to get some qualifications after the boot camp, which is basically like most of these boot camp providers also give their learners exam certification exam voucher. So once they sit through and then they complete it, that speaks for itself. People may not have a degree, but these qualifications are not in vain.
Okay,
Okay,
just to
just one.
add. So, sorry, but I think you can speak after this. So, brother's question was how recognition, how well it's recognized. Like, if you join a boot camp, you don't have an experience, right? So all you can say is I attended this boot camp. His question was, does this be recognized by employers? Do they give value to it?
Two ways to get the recognition. One is the employer does not recruit someone just because they attended the boot camp. They are going to interview you, they are going to test you. So if you acquired knowledge in the boot camp and if you get through the interview by demonstrating your knowledge, definitely there's no question about it. Companies like Apple, Microsoft itself have come like claimed already that we do not look for degrees anymore. We are only looking at the skills, and they have their own method of testing the skills. So if we are able to like demonstrate the skill based on the job description they have put for that job role, definitely they are going to get through. The other way to justify our qualification is through one of these certification exams. You saw how in my introduction I had put like a showcase there. So getting one of those badges after attempting an exam also really helps. So
Okay,
they
okay.
do definitely take it seriously. But the other aspect of it as well is that some employers want to claim that apprenticeship benefit, so that half the salary comes from government for these employees.
Hmm, Okay.
So
Okay. Thank you.
that
Thanks
also
for
was.
that. Sorry, Asad bhai, you can continue with your question.
Sure, thank you. Sukan, one more question I had is that, like, they for a particular skill, there are multiple programs that are available. So, in your experience and your expertise, how would you say that, like, which one do you choose? For example, if I type digital marketing, there may be three, four digital marketing courses that are available. How do we quantify which one would be beneficial? How do we go about it?
I would say that's the homework. You have to do it yourself
Okay.
because like each one of them, they will specify what modules are they teaching. You'll also have to look at like maybe if you just Google search, LinkedIn search, you'll know like how students from those providers or for that particular program what they are talking about it, and based on that you'll have to decide it yourself.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Can I just add up on this question a bit? So if you want to make some assistance to make a choice as what course to offer, what I would recommend is just go to a job board, any job board like LinkedIn or jobserve.co.uk, digital marketer, enter the keyword as digital marketer and see what is expected out of it and what are the salary levels. Okay, that way you can decide whether some salary levels for a particular stream is sufficient for you, and the job description whether you will be interested to do such jobs. So this way that will help in one way to make a choice.
Great. Thank you so much.
Iqbal bhai, you can start ask your question. Brother Iqbal, your hand is raised. Are you mute?
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Brother Sufian. Thank you. Thanks for this. Yeah, it's very informative. I joined a little bit late, so maybe this question is related to this is for only nationals, UK nationals, or it's for the visa holders, or how it is like this?
It is available for, I mean, as long as someone has the right to work in UK for next 2 to 3 years, most of them are eligible, but it again depends on bootcamp to bootcamp. So the like when you find one and go to the bootcamp provider's website, they will clearly mention students are not like students who are on student visa. They are definitely not eligible from the large extent of framework that I have understood. But like people who are on skilled worker visa or dependent visa, they are allowed.
Yeah, great. So this boot camp, it's maybe I'll go and check the things. It's about online and offline both is available, or it is like
Yeah. Different bootcamp providers offer it in different modes. Most of it, at least especially if it is like digital related stuff, most of it is available online. But there are some of them that can only be taught in person. So either that happens on a hybrid mode or it happens totally offline.
So they take the responsibility like for placement, or it's like additional add-ons like
So I would say that, I mean, it is very subjective to the job market. And if the bootcamp providers get you the job, that's when they are making their money. So they are going to put in all the efforts that they need to help you get the job. But like, is it a guarantee? We can't really say that because it is not even in bootcamp providers' hands to guarantee a job for everyone.
Okay. So how they benefit, like just to you know?
Yeah. I mean, the government of UK pays these bootcamp providers only when
They
they
got
help
placed.
someone. Yeah. I mean, like part of it goes when the training is delivered, part of it goes when the learner sits a job interview, and part of it goes when they get the job.
Okay. So for selection, when we apply, it's a transparent, or how it is like for bootcamp?
Most often it is transparent if you are eligible and if you have the time and you are able to commit, because some bootcamps like really have a prerequisite of having some understanding in that domain, because some of them will be advanced than the others. For example, data analytics bootcamp, it's like one of the entry level bootcamps. Most of them are able to get started with it. But data science bootcamp, it needs someone to have some exposure to programming and stuff like that. So they would say, do you have that experience, exposure? Otherwise, like you'll have to do something else then.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sufian. Appreciate
No problem.
Very good, sir. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
Rafiq bhai, I see your hand is raised. I have two more questions. One question is, um, say if I join a boot camp and I halfway I decide this is not for me, do I get penalized for wasting everybody's time? Second, okay, I complete the boot camp. Now I need help in attending interview, how to attend interview, how to write CV, how to have. There are people helping with that. Does the boot camp provider has a section of people helping with that as well?
Okay. To answer the first question, do people get penalized when they leave midway? In my opinion, they should be penalized. But are they penalized? No, they are not penalized.
Okay.
So the providers try their best to make sure that they recruit learners who can stay committed, and they try to motivate them different ways to make sure that they get to complete it, because like it's, if they don't get to convince the learner to stay all the way till the end, it's their money they are losing. Anyway, so that's the answer to the first question. And second one, do they help with job applications and stuff like that? Definitely, they definitely need to do that, because that's like one of the milestones that they need to support with to get paid. Until someone gets to sit a job interview or get the job, like they are not going to be paid. So like from what I have seen, every bootcamp provider in the country, they have like a career development, career support syllabus within the entire training that they deliver. For example, in our boot camps as well, like we have a lot of careers and employability workshop sessions happening every week, which helps people in building their CV, creating their LinkedIn profile, walking them through how to apply for jobs. So we do like a full on workshop to make sure, and we do it very often so that the learners are comfortable going forward to apply it by themselves, so that they don't really have to depend on us going forward. Of course, like most of them, I mean, one thing definitely that is going to be there is like helping people build their CV or design the CV, capture all the information there. So that support is definitely going to be there.
No, this is brilliant, amazing. Rafiq bhai, your question.
Yeah, thanks. So I just wanted to add to the questions, to two questions that Brother Hanif and Brother Asad asked. They are related in the sense Brother Asad asked, like, can non-IT people get in training into IT, and can they expect a technical career? In my practical experience in the industry, I have come across many people from non-technical background. For example, I have worked with someone who has been in the armed forces, someone who was a builder, and he was one of the best software developer I've seen in the career. So it all depends upon how much we apply ourselves to learn a skill, practice the skill, do some pet projects ourselves rather than just depending upon the bootcamp providers. That makes us stand apart from the rest. So it is how much of interest we show to develop in a particular chosen area that we want to change our career to. Okay, that was one part of it. And Brother Hanif also asked as to whether to go for a entry level job via the provider or outside. Okay, from my experience on the recruitment, see, employers are preferring someone who has come via some form of formal training, like the boot camps, who have gone through some 6 to 10 weeks of training, and they have done some projects, some minimum project they have done, and some of them they have done certification as well. Such candidates are preferred over open market candidates who just come blank and then they say, train me. Okay, so it has got advantages because these it can be any provider. Okay, these people have the tie-ups with the employers, so they have motivation to place them as well. So I hope that
Yeah.
adds up to the answer that Brother Sufian has given it earlier.
Do we have more questions? even if you don't have questions, what do you feel about this opportunity? You can express that. I sincerely think we should give this to the sisters group as well, where, you know, as you mentioned, there were use cases where people had a break and because they lose the confidence. This is a good platform to gain a new skill, and also the bootcamp is helping all the way, even for applying and right to get the job. So this is a golden opportunity for such thing. So yeah. If
Absolutely. And just to build on top of that, like that was our campaign for the boot camps that we started in October this year, which was like, how can we customize the timings of the boot camp? Because like most of the mothers, they have, let's say, the school run at 3. How can we finish the boot camp, let's say, by 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock every day? So we have done a number of things in our October. So like depending on, I mean, we try to do those kind of things within our boot camps just to make sure that we reach out to like very wide range of audiences, to make sure that it is convenient for them so that they can stick to it until the end, and then they can actually make benefit out of it.
Excuse me, brother. I'm asking a question here. My wife is currently, we are not in England, we are in Ireland. My wife took a career break for around 12 years. So right now, can we apply from Ireland? We are Irish citizens. We are eligible to work in the UK.
In my opinion, you might be able to, but I would say that when you apply for one of the boot camps and then they will come back to you with that requirement. But from what I have seen, like the DFE funds, they are usually limited to residents of UK. But I would say like you don't lose anything by just like applying, because they will schedule a call with you, understand more. So why not try it out?
Okay, brother. Sound.
Well, no problem.
so, if there are no more questions, we can wind up. Okay. Okay. I thank Rafiq Bhai and team to creating this opportunity, and I sincerely thank Brother Sufian for giving us a wealth of knowledge, which is very useful for our community. I hope people watch this video later on and benefit as well. Inshallah, we will bring more of this as we get more information. Jazakallah khair. And let me do a dua and we'll finish. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Assalamu alaikum, anyone. Thank you. Bye.
Jazakallah.
Yes, sir. Alaikum salam.
Okay.